Part 2. So, I did not do so well. This is a difficult topic. I could feel while recording the other half my emotions kicking in when Mel got up to answer the phone. I'm sure you saw the look I gave her. That was,
It was
it's still a difficult thing for me to control. Emotions take over. I'm like, I can't do this. I slam the computer, go into my room like a 3-year-old and pout. And I don't want anything. I want to be alone. I want to be left alone. Don't want to argue. And even though she tries to communicate, everything seems like an argument to me at the time. And then minutes later, I realize I'm being a dick.
And then we rewatched the video.
And then
after he accused me of arguing over and over again.
Yeah, you didn't even argue with me. Wow, I did not see.
It was the first time he got to see
that. Played out in my head very differently than it played actually out. So.
And
hopefully that helps me.
The phone call was discussed prior to us starting the video.
Yeah,
as well.
I knew it was going to happen.
Our son was at the movies with his friend and needed a ride home after the movie, so he was aware. And then the call came through.
I was insulted. I don't know.
Yeah, he was very insulted.
Yeah, it's welcome to my life. I'm so defensive and so
emotional. It's a touchy subject, and that's what I was trying to tell you in the room. I get it. You don't have to be upset. You know, but. You weren't having that either. You were like, stop arguing. Shut it down. I'm like...
I don't know what it is.
I'm not arguing.
I'm not in control.
And I even gave you like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know. So, I'm feeling better. I apologize.
I brought lots of food because I'm just going to let him get through it because I don't fully know the story. So then I don't want to trigger him even more. So I'm going to allow him to...
Well, I'm working on.
If he wants me to cooperate, then I will. I'm more than happy to.
Well, the next bit, like I'll go back to the morning of the pills, but the next bit is about the 8 weeks basically, and then we'll stop there and we'll go. The next episode will be the switch, if you know what I'm referring to.
So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. The switch. So, So the morning of the second morning when I went back to work again, before that we had a big fight, and she had threatened suicide with pills. Throughout all this too, I had gotten more of her history, so that was significant. We'll leave both of our histories for another episode as well. Being different and in my thinking, she basically told me to take the pills because she didn't trust herself, and I was like, no. I took the pills and I set them right on the table right in front of her, and I made her promise me that she wasn't going to do it. In hindsight, probably not the greatest idea. I was emotional and I was taking it personally. I was like, you're not going to do that too. That you're not going to put that on my conscience. And I should have took the pills, but anyway. Went to work. The whole time I'm at work as well, I'm worried about the goddamn pills and the state that I left you in. So I did it to myself, but...
I was texting you the whole time.
You were texting me the whole time.
Saying I'm on my way to your work.
Well, saying keeping communication, so I knew, obviously, that you hadn't taken the pills. But, and then you texted basically saying that you were walking to my work, which was...
I left at 7:30 in the morning.
A significant distance. So I wasn't going to go or pick her up or even meet her in the parking lot if she got there hours later. But through talking with a couple of friends and everything else at work about what was going on, I realized I could not be there in the state of mind that I was in, so I left. Went and picked her up, and we went back home. No, we went to Crisis. that was very disappointing. We went in thinking it was going to be something like counseling, and it was not that. It was like an intake, basically. Like, are you
Gonna kill yourself?
Gonna kill yourself? No. Are you gonna kill someone? No.
Okay, so here's some ideas that you.
So here's some coping mechanisms, and have a nice day. Okay. We went back home. Continued fighting, interrogating, battling. It just did not stop. Got to a point where I left. I went to a friend's house. I made it one night, I think.
No, you didn't even stay the night. You ate dinner and stuff.
No, I stayed.
You only stayed once for the night.
I can't remember. There's 2 times that I went there. 2 or 3 times.
No.
I don't know. It's kind of those 8 weeks are a bit of a blur, so bear with us.
No, because you went there, talked to him, and then you brought me to the hospital.
Yes, that's right. When was that, though, timeline-wise?
It was early on, very early. It was the first time you went to his house. It was very early. It was...
So me going to work must have been day 3 or something like that. Not sure. So anyway, at one point, I had gone to a buddy's house and talked to him. I went to this guy's house because he's very...
Sorry, I'm laughing. It's just you argued with me that wasn't day 3. But it's okay.
There's a lot of fog for me too, okay?
I get it.
I apologize. Through talking to this guy, and the reason why I wanted to connect with him is I felt he was most similar to me. We had worked out of town together, spent a lot of time with super solid dude, really close to me. I went to a few friends, but wanted to bring this bombshell to him, basically. And we sat down, and he told me flat out, you got 2 options: run or stay and fix. And I was on the fence. I didn't know what to do. I left his house. I wanted to go to Crisis for myself to see if I could get that answer. And I got to the end of his street and basically told myself, if I turn left, I am going to help her. If I turn right, I'm going to help me. Forget her. I'm done. And tried to blank my mind the whole drive to the stop sign. I probably sat at that stop sign for like 10 minutes and turned left. She was still texting me, and basically I told her to get ready because I was bringing her to the hospital to figure out what the heck was going on. So we went to the hospital, we went to Crisis, we were both messes, and
they took us both together.
Yep, they took us together. We talked to a counselor, and that was the first time we heard the terminology or the term D.I.D.
That was my preliminary diagnosis that day.
So we hear D.I.D. and...
we begged them to admit me too.
We tried, yeah. Basically, the way that system worked, if your wrists weren't bleeding, if you weren't at the point of killing yourself, sorry, we don't have a bed. So they basically just said, you have a psychiatrist that you see
every 4 months,
and you're on antidepressant pills. So
it was very minor at the time.
Yeah, mild, super mild. Antidepressant pills, so you'll be fine. Go home and wait to see your psychiatrist. So, very depressing. Again, went home, struggling, frustrated, like, we need help, and everywhere we go, we're not getting anything effective. So we started scheduling counseling, couples counseling, psychiatrist appointments or psychotherapist appointments. We started counseling. It kept us sane-ish for the most part. It was something to look forward to, almost to the point where we're like, okay, well, we got counseling tomorrow, so we're going to get fixed tomorrow. Or I remember...
But we assumed that we would get fixed every session that we had. Like that was
because,
the feeling. Like
because you're in such pain that you're like,
you just want to go there and feel better.
We just need that, and then we'll be good. We just need that, and then we'll be good. Because of how quickly one phone call can destroy everything, you automatically assume that
that easy to fix.
One session is going to fix it, and it don't. It don't. You lie to yourself. I think we tried everything to get you into your psychiatrist appointment sooner, and it was like 3-4 weeks away. And I remember how much we hung on to that appointment. Like, we just got to make it to that appointment. If we can just get to that appointment, you can sit down, explain everything to this guy, and he's going to fix you, and we're going to be good again. And that didn't happen.
We had more events.
We had all kinds of highs and lows throughout that period up to the psychiatrist appointment.
Well, that's when I started seeing things.
Oh yeah, there was.
So Allison called. Allison would.
Well, she was one of
my caretakers, I guess you could say.
Well, yeah.
Counselors.
Yeah, and she'd been working with her for a few sessions. Do you want to talk about that night? What happened that night?
I don't remember what happened that night, so go ahead.
Okay, so basically that night, so we're still before the 8-week mark, and we're before the psychiatrist appointment that was going to save us. She was dealing with a psychotherapist. She had an appointment the next day. We were just going to get smokes, and we got in an argument on the way home, and I basically didn't want to argue, so just disengage. We're not arguing. I don't remember what it was about. We got home, and whichever alter was out was not okay with not arguing. She continued to want to argue. So we were hashing it out in the kitchen, and behind the kitchen there was a staircase that went up to the bedrooms, and I remember I just lit a cigarette, and I looked over at Mel, and Mel was sitting up on the counter and looked white as a ghost and just like staring at the staircase. And I'm sitting there like, and I think I even said, "What the fuck are you doing?" or "What the fuck is this?" And
what the fuck just happened?
Oh yeah, what the
I remember
fuck
those words.
What the fuck just happened? And she got like startled, like, oh shit, he saw that type of thing. And from the embarrassment I think that was on her face, I just brushed it off and told her, okay, we're disengaging from this. I need 5 minutes. So I went up to our bedroom, I sat down, and I started writing out questions that I wanted to ask her therapist to help me deal with her.
But then it brought back your memory about... Oh, no, go ahead. No, I don't know. That wasn't relevant.
Yeah, no. So I started writing out questions like, how do I disengage? How do I engage? How do I... There were so many how do I's. So as I'm writing out this list, about 10 minutes later, she comes back into the room completely different than who she had been for the past 2 hours. And she had made me feel calm enough that I could ask without her going into one of her episodes. So I asked, I'm like, what the hell just happened in the kitchen? And she's like, oh, I saw something. And I'm like, what do you mean you saw something? And she's like, I saw a little girl at the top of the stairs. So, and we've had a few experiences like this. This is the first one, but we've had more after the fact. But this is my first sixth sense type of thing. I don't mean to laugh about it at all. It's just...
I laugh about it too because I'm so comfortable
we laugh
with
about it now, but at the time we weren't laughing. I was just outside of myself. I was like, wow, okay. And this is still in the early stages of figuring out what D.I.D is and what the hell's going on. And I'm still dealing with the thought of this gruesome, brutal affair going on in my head. But I put that aside and I said, okay, can you explain everything to me? So in my mind, I know she has a therapist appointment the next day. So I'm like, I'm going to be like a policeman here. I'm going to write everything out, sketch what she sees, write down the details, write everything.
Do you want me to grab it so we could show them?
Do you have it?
I do. It's very accessible right now.
Yes, grab that.
I just pulled it up.
I didn't know you had that.
Yeah.
Still, that's hilarious. Anyway, I'm doing this in thinking that if... One, it was, to be honest, it was super interesting to me. As scary as it was. And then on top of that, I thought it could help the therapist understand and maybe take her seriously, believe what she's going through, and be able to do something about it.
There's your questions.
Oh, there we go. So getting back to the questions, I'll just read a couple of them quick. How do I disengage from the negative persona? How do I recognize that the hurtful outbursts are not my wife? How do I comfort my wife without upsetting the negative persona? Because at this point, I think we only think there's a good one and a bad one. And how do I assist my wife in gaining control in helpless moments? So those were some of the questions.
This happened
This was October 3rd at approximately 6:30 p.m. Mel's vision. I don't know if they'll be able to see how. I apologize for my writing and everything, and
he had to write fast.
I'm not a drawer. I apologize. But anyway, basically, what I wrote. I noticed Mel's face turn white like she saw a ghost. I turned around, didn't see anything, so turned back to Mel and saw the shame and fear on her face. I asked what the hell just happened, and she said she saw someone at the top of the stairs. I dismissed to collect myself and questioned her roughly 5 to 10 minutes later and began the sketch. Mel's demeanor was embarrassed and scared shitless. I calmed her down and continued to talk about the event. And basically, through that, the information that I got, the little girl, it kind of looks like the chick from The Ring on this, but that's just my terrible drawing. Persons felt familiar, possibly Mel at a younger age. Couldn't see any facial features, felt real and detailed. She could see a hood. There was blonde hair coming outside of the hood. She was wearing a white gown. There was frills along the gown. The gown went right down to the floor because I asked if she could see her feet or anything. And then the rest of the details, a young girl around 9 to 10 years old. So that was the first hallucination, I guess.
Visual hallucination.
Visual hallucination. It's funny that you got that still.
I have everything.
That's good.
Anything you asked for is there.
So I was pumped to get that out. She became very irritable afterwards. After that, so is that the day I took you out for dinner? I think so, eh?
No, that was a while later.
Okay, so that was a different episode. Not episode, but event. So anyway, the next morning she goes to her therapist, and I basically...
You asked if you can...
I asked if I could present what I just presented to you guys, because, to be honest, I didn't trust her. I didn't think she would actually... come forward and because of how hesitant she was with all the other information and everything else, because somebody suffering from D.I.D. obviously doesn't run around telling people. It's not something they want to brag about or admit, and still being at such an early stage of discovery, just didn't expect her to be able to be open and honest about it. So I just wanted 5 minutes. I went in there. It was a 50-minute appointment.
My appointments were 50-minute sessions, $240 a session.
I went in there.
It was my third session, just so you know.
Yes, I went in there, and I'm under the impression that I'm just going to be in quick, and she's going to get this session.
And I'm under the impression that he's just going to come in with me and help me get through it till I get there. Then he's like, no, I want to go in alone.
Yeah, now that makes sense. I remember the look I got. So I go in, I explain who I am to the lady. I explained the purpose of what I was doing. I gave her the sheet. She photocopied it. And then she had a million questions for me. And the reason why she had a million questions for me was...
It was my third session. She didn't really know me very well.
She hadn't accepted...
the fact that I had D.I.D. yet.
Yeah,
She's new. She was new.
In her defense, she was new to the practice, and she was new to her.
She was awesome.
She was.
She just was not
prepared or experienced in this. So basically, she ended up picking my brain, and the longer I'm giving the information, as much information as I can, because I'm in. This is going to help Mel mode, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, Mel's sitting in the waiting room freaking out. I know it. I know she's losing her mind because here's her whole appointment and I'm wasting her appointment. And so I'm doing everything now like, okay, this is taking too long. I'm trying to give real short answers to the therapist, and I'm like, okay, we're good. Okay, so I go to walk out.
45 minutes, so I have 5 minutes left to my session.
I walk out knowing exactly what I'm walking into, and I walk around the corner. Mel's sitting on the couch, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I apologize. You can go in. the look. If looks could kill, I was decimated. There was nothing left of me in that point, and I believe on your way in. I
said something. I don't know what I said.
Oh, I remember what you said.
What was it?
This was supposed to be for me. Or something along the lines of that.
Well, it was, because I had just seen hallucinations, and the previous appointment with her, which was a day before, because I had 3 appointments that week. It was my first week seeing her. We went through this crazy safety plan. I had to prove to her that I went through it with all of my friends and family support system, and that I had all their phone numbers and approvals to follow this safety plan because I had suicidal thoughts. And then I was like, he just fucking took that away from me. I was not having it. I was not happy. Anyways, she ended up giving me another hour, though.
Yes, luckily she didn't have another appointment. Thank God. She could have told me that
before. Didn't show up. The other appointment just didn't show up. So she didn't know.
Yes.
But she was on the phone with a
She
psychiatrist.
did get to have her appointment. Or
so he got forgiven.
Yeah. Even though I was trying to help.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So that was that one.
You act like there's so many of those.
Oh, there's lots. To be honest, there's lots, and it's hard to remember the order.
Don't worry about order.
Yeah, no, okay.
Especially this kind of thing. Like just gonna keep eating.
What else? Anything else happened before the psychiatrist appointment? Which helped?
The car.
No, it was after. That was after. I think everything was after.
Okay.
It was just a lot of fighting and a lot of interrogating and some stories changing. Some of the details from the original story changing. It was fucking hell. It was to the point where everything was hinging on this psychiatrist appointment, and it didn't do shit.
We spent about $8,000 in counselors.
Oh yeah, we blew through my benefits in counseling, couples counseling. It was, like I said, it was something to look forward to, and it was helping us. But the minute we would get in there,
we already know everything. We know what to do.
Well, we knew more about what we were dealing with than,
because we had done our research, and now we're walking into this.
Not saying that we're the professionals or anything else. It was just their approach was to try and help us with marriage counseling and like relationship advice, and we didn't have any issues relationship wise.
No.
There was still the illusion of an affair, but at that point, my mind's saying that if this did happen, it's due to whatever the hell we're dealing with. So what I wanted was, we need to fix what she has, because that's what's
But everyone was focused on our relationship
going on
and our day to day, because they needed me to be stable in order for us to move forward.
Well,
Everyone was focused on my stability.
Yeah, I just remember how devastating. Like, I think my first single counseling session was when I told the counselor, I said, like, I'm smart. I do a lot of self counseling. I've experienced trauma in my past. I've always managed to cope. One thing that I didn't cope, that I know I don't cope well with, is stress. When I get super stressed, so I always try and avoid
stressful situations.
Yes, I avoid conflict and things like that. And I remember saying to him, like, I'm a smart dude. This is just the only thing that's changed, because our relationship seemed perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. And then there was a phone call. Mm-hmm. And it was just words. It was just information. How do I feel the way that I feel now based on information? It's just words. I was just flabbergasted at how words can have such an effect. And the counselor, the example he gave me is, you go to work and your boss tells you you're fired. They're just words. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. There was a lot of trying to come to terms with how to deal, and so many highs, so many lows. This time I'm not on medication, so I'm riding this sober and full blown. I'm not working.
I think this is gonna take like 6 parts.
It might.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
We're not even past the first 8 weeks yet.
No.
We're still in that.
No, there's lots of little things. So I guess we'll just talk about the psychiatrist appointment and then leave it at that for now. We'll do part 3
tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do part 3. So, psychiatrist appointment. So I remember the morning of, it was like, it's finally here.
I had an appointment with Allison that morning too, because she had wrote out a big list of questions for me to ask the psychiatrist.
Yes.
She prepared me. She was like, this is what you're going in there to say, this is what you're going in there to do. Take a picture of it. She sent it to my email. I had it with me. I was ready to go.
She was a strong advocate for, you guys need help.
You guys need to push and push and push, and she, like, literally, she was on the phone with them,
with the
like,
psychiatrist,
pushing them, like, you need to see this girl, and they wouldn't change my appointment.
Yeah, they wouldn't up the appointment. But anyway, day of the appointment, keeping on track. We're on a mission. Mel's gonna sit down with this psychiatrist.
Before we go on with that, I was referred to the psychiatrist because I was diagnosed with Graves' disease. Throughout the Graves' disease, I got really depressed, and my endocrinologist referred me to a psychiatrist. Keep that in mind when we're telling this story. Carry on.
We'll get into the actual health issues in a different episode as well. So, super pumped, super anxious, determined. Mel's going to sit with this guy, tell her whole life, because throughout the period of the call and where we are today, there was a lot of history information that had come out that I was like, somebody needs to know your story, because this is a no-brainer. The life that you've lived, you definitely, there's something here. And it was, 10 minutes?
If that.
We got in there and tried these pills. Well, no, and I mean, even in the room.
You were getting upset at this.
I'm mad. I'm like, this guy's not even listening to us. Like, no, like, there's big problems here. No. You're just having a rough time. It's a rough patch. Yeah, it's an anxiety. moods or whatever, just try these pills, and I'll see you in.
And then this is where he brought in the Graves' disease. You referred to me for Graves' disease.
Oh yeah, he was blaming that it could just be the health thing too, and it could be the meds that's throwing you off, unbalancing you.
Oh, and that I'm a smoker. The smoking was making my meds not work.
Yep, because she smoked. That was not balancing everything. I was so fucking pissed.
You were disgusted.
Oh.
We both walked out of there and we were livid.
It was the most depressing thing, and not.
No, I brought my bags that day because I wanted to be admitted. Remember?
We thought you were going in.
Thought, yeah.
Like this was the cure of all cures, and we say, and I know Mel said it in the first video, that the healthcare system sucks. That's not what we mean. We're not saying that the professionals out there are garbage,
don't know what they're doing,
or anything else. We just have had a really
rough time,
difficult time with this system and the way it's designed, because there were so many times, especially in those first 8 weeks, that we were crying for help.
Literally.
We were trying to use every avenue possible.
Calling crisis lines, suicide
we were running
lines,
broke.
helplines.
We had no money left.
Hospitals every second day were there at crisis center. Like,
and it was just like you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine.
Wait
it's
for
still
your
fresh. It's still
appointment.
fresh. It's just lots of people go through this. Just go home. And it. If I had $1 for every time I heard that this
Did
is
you
just...
try to kill yourself? That is the first question they ask.
Oh, yeah.
If you say no, have you thought about it?
Forget
yes.
it. You're done. You're done.
Okay, but you didn't try, so you go home.
To the point, and this is how crazy I was at that time, or how...
this is after the 8 weeks. Are you talking about your break?
No, before that. I remember, because we were having such a hard time with the hospitals, it's like, you know what?
Oh, yeah.
Stab me in the leg.
He's like, stab me in the leg.
Just stab me in the leg. I'm not going to press charges or anything. Just stab me in the leg, because at least they'll take you seriously. You'll get in there. You'll be able to get the help you need. My leg will heal. I'm not worried about it.
Just so you guys know, I did not agree to it. I did not stab him in the leg, and I would never.
She didn't even contemplate the idea. She was like, no, absolutely not. And that's how desperate
we were. We were desperate.
No, you weren't.
Not
you weren't having that idea. It was me.
Right.
I'm like, what the hell can we do? Again, thinking outside of the box. Not my greatest characteristic. And yeah, stab me in the leg. We'll get some results.
This is how messed up we were, though.
Yeah, it was such a dark period, and it did not get better after that.
It just went downhill.
It was so...
It was bad.
Brutal. But anyway...
We're going to let this stop at part 2.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very long journey, the call.
Well, we've pretty much gotten through the call.
We're through about 8 weeks, and it's about 4 months, so...
Yeah. There's quite a few... Well,
I'd say there's about
events.
2 more episodes.
Just around the call?
Yeah.
Or do you want to...
No, just around the call. There's probably about 2 more episodes if we do about 20 minutes each.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that one was better. I got through that one. It wasn't as bad.
I'm proud of you.
Yes. It's difficult.
No, you're doing much better. I'm proud of you.
I appreciate everybody's support, and let's keep this going. Hopefully, if there's people out there that are dealing with this, like, or dealing with things similar to us, that this at least helps. There's hope, guys. There's hope.
There is.
Both of us have been in dark places, and you know what? It's never worth it. There's always hope. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Even if it don't work, don't give up. Try something else. Exhaust every option. Quitting is it's not an option.
Don't be a quitter.
No. Okay. Thanks again, guys.
Have a good night. Don't forget to subscribe, share.
Yes, all that jazz.
Gotta say that. Come on. It's a YouTube video.
All right. Take care, guys.